couple of the OPL teams real out of sync with their victory celebrations after last week's victory. Still Spawn and Egypt bringing you, what, week 6, day number 1 of the OPL? Something like that.
Also, that is possibly the worst impression of the room I have ever heard in my life. You got to commit, Paprise. He didn't commit. And it was a disaster.
I don't know what to tell you, mate. There was a couple of things, including that. That's a little bit of a disaster right now. But we are about to move into our second best of... Control yourself, sir! Second best of 3 of the night. It is going to be Avant Gaming taking on Mammoth.
I can't speak.
And this matchup is, honestly, once again, a pretty confusing matchup, given the fact that Mammoth's recent form has not looked great. And Avant, maybe on the rise? Maybe?
Both of these teams are coming off the victory here, yeah? So, like, Mammoth beat Tectonic last week, but AV, big resurgence. You know, they've been absolutely struggling. Charlie was talking about how they had the crisis meeting that came out last week and looked very good. So
sound like Legacy had a crisis meeting after last week.
Yep, and they got the 2-0.
Order had a crisis meeting?
This is 100% success rate.
Crisis meetings work.
Yep.
Sharp, are you going to have a crisis meeting before week 10?
I mean, I'm anti-crisis meeting, man. Anti-crisis
See,
meeting.
I heard the opposite. I heard that you were the original crisis meeting master.
I was.
That introduced the crisis meeting to Sin Gaming.
It was actually our performance director, Jono. And then I'm just anti that, man. I'm sick of that stuff. I'm sick of bringing up all the problems. You get to work.
You held a crisis meeting about crisis meetings, and you were like, "It's over."
Yeah.
And everyone went, "Okay, fine, we're moving."
That's
on.
when I realized we actually got to play the damn video game. You know, that's what it has got to.
I think that's a great motto. We are, of course, back, and with us is the trophy. I think it was here last segment. It's hard to tell. It blends in with the grey wall. Touch it. Now the other side.
Nah. I mean, it would be better if there was big direwalls there, but...
Yeah, but you
but
lost,
wait, that's
you
actually...
lost
No,
the
we
game
can't
on the
do that.
finals, so
yeah,
we couldn't put that in there.
We can't do that. We failed.
Yeah, no, that's fine. You carried everybody the first day, so it was fine. We are, of course, back. We're back for another series, and with us comes the competition. So we're doing the art competition. Obviously, tomorrow, Juves and I are going to paint something from the League of Legends Uva, I think is how you pronounce it. We need your suggestions. We've got a bunch, but we want a couple more before the end of the first game. If your suggestion gets picked to put on the show, then you will win yourself a skin or a Hextech chest and key. And if you get chosen to be painted by Juves and I tomorrow, you win a double pass to the Melbourne Esports Open to watch the OPL Grand Final, where most likely it's looking like Curtis and his Direwolves will be there, but anything could happen this split. We are very excited to be heading down to Melbourne, and if you don't win, if you miss out on the competition, you can still pick up your tickets from Ticketek, and you can also remember to put in your music submission. That we have the song competition for those songs to be professionally recorded and played at the Melbourne Esports Open. The deadline closes at midnight tomorrow, so you only have a few more hours to get your entry in. I'm looking forward to that one. I feel like some inspirational music for whatever teams are going to be battling out then is something that the community can give to you guys.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, anything that somewhat resembles Lord of the Rings.
Yep.
As Direwolves walk out.
Epic.
Really epic and grand. That's what I'd be looking
Well, it's
for.
funny because upstairs you were talking about how you are a sponge when it comes to music.
Yes,
and you,
that's right.
Whatever the tone of the music, you take on as a human being. So if someone did not want Direwolves to win, they would put in something very sad and something that, I don't know what the musical version of throwing a video game is, but you would put that into the lyrics of the song. Bryce, Jake, how would you describe that musically?
The Amumu song.
Yeah.
Like, you know, singing about not having any friends, and then Direwolves come out, and then, like, they lose.
I'm the opposite. We just got a little bit of Dodos in.
Yeah, we did.
And I know that it's the OPL special. And I know that I've been on the OPL since it was the OPL. I hate that song.
I also hate that song because I lost to Sin, and they just played that song.
Pops off. I love that song. It's
After
awesome.
we lost it, I was just like, I don't want to
See, lots of people like that song, and Twitch chat is currently calling for my head. However, you didn't know what Uva was. I saw that in your face.
What? Yeah, what was that word?
From, like, it's kind of from the
genre.
The genre of, from the collection.
I thought you went to say universe and just, like, couldn't get it out.
And somehow...
the League of Legends, right. And I'm just like, that was a struggle.
Yeah, it's like kind of your, like, brand or, like, type of thing. Anyway, let's get into this matchup. On the blue side, it's going to be Avant Gaming. In the top lane is Parbu. Prayless is their jungler. I hope the lineup comes up. Fraze their mid laner, Dark Side, and Jake at their bottom lane, of course, Coach Charlie Ray. And these guys, question for you, Bryce.
All right.
I'll hit you with a hard one.
Yep.
decisive 2-0 victory.
Yep.
Against a team that has just taken down Tectonic.
Yep.
Flash in the frying pan. Genuine contender to make a 5th place push. Go.
Genuine 5th place push.
Well, like a playoff push. 5th place or higher.
Flash in the pan.
Oh! Flash in the pan!
Flash in the pan. They've had 1 week looking very good and many weeks looking very rough. If this like momentum kicks in, their bottom lane all of a sudden back on actual AD carries looks good. They like have avenues to play through. That's fine. But they spent 3 weeks just looking disastrous, like lost. They don't really have like cohesive drafts, game plans that come together. And so until they prove me wrong today, I'm going to say flash in the pan.
All right, cool. And I do want to talk about their captain, however. You saw him all fired up at the end of that
very fired
mic check, and he was popping off on the Morgana. This is one of Jake's signature picks back in the day, and played it to great effect.
Yeah, not to mention the Rakan as well, but like going back to those crit 80 carries for Darkseid opens up Jake to have a good performance. He's a player that has always been like middle of the pack, you know, like wanting to break into like the upper echelon of Oceanic supports in my eyes, and kind of wanting to return to that form. This split for him would have been super rough. Like, their bottom lane has just been getting constantly shoved in, losing matchups. He had that Pyke game where it was 20 minutes, and you called him the most useless Pyke you've ever seen.
I didn't say that. I said he was invisible.
Yeah. Well...
The word useless, that's flame.
Okay.
I called him invisible.
My bad.
I also want to point out that he is the best support player, in my opinion, that has never played with, like, a lost FBI Radier in your situation or a Raze. He has always played... I think Jake is better than people give him credit. That's what my point is.
He's always been the better half of his bottom lane.
Yeah.
Which is very rough, considering, like, how long he's been playing the game competitively, right? Like, that's a super rough situation to be in. He is a big leader, and, like, that's a strength for AV, but not having, like, an AD carry to then push him could be a problem.
I was impressed with him in Origin. However, they are going up against Mammoth. In the top lane, they have Chippies. Their jungler is the 6'5" alpha male, who also did a really cool piece with Headspace throughout the week. Of course, Juves Remind is their mid laner, and Mash and Kuden their bottom lane, Vicarious their coach. And this is a team that I am going to say, and this is bold, lacks identity. I think they played very slow last week, and they looked good doing it. They have played very fast. They have played towards Remind and put him on things like the Zoe. They have played towards Chippy's carry. And the general rule in League of Legends is 5 players don't get to play carries. At a certain point, you have to play weak side something. And I don't know whether Mammoth have a weak side of the map.
Is this results-based analysis? And if you look at like Direwolves playing through every single lane, but they win every game, they're the most versatile team in the world.
They did it.
And then Mammoth play through every single lane, but they lose the games. It's like they're sloppy and lack an identity.
But they didn't. Even when Direwolves were winning every single lane, they were winning bottom lane with a very neutral lane.
Yeah, and Bio was like outplaying dives, getting like
so I'm talking about historically.
Oh, okay.
And now BioPanther has had his fair share of tank v tank matchups.
Yep.
So he has played weak side top lane as well. I think this team, like, legitimately picks carry, and then Juves, we call it the firefighter. Plays Firefighter Juves and runs between the lanes and tries to put them out when they catch on fire.
At what point does he pick Soraka, you know? Like, every lane's low, he just zooms top side to give him a heal, zooms back into the mid lane. But no, like, I kind of agree with you there. They do get pulled in every single direction. I feel like, contrasting the Pyke conversation, Kuden has had the best Pyke game in the league that we've seen, and they pulled out this Karthus Kled composition.
Which is a very good comp. That thing is busted.
And Remind, despite being Korean, is a very LJL mid laner in my opinion. They've always played like wide champion pools and play the weird things like Vel'Koz. We've seen him do that one. He pulls out the Kled. He can pick off. I'm blanking on the other pick that I had in my head.
Aurelion Sol.
Aurelion Sol, that's the one that is actually still disabled.
Sol. I like it. Is he still disabled?
That's why he doesn't get banned against Mammoth. Avant get a cheeky little extra ban there.
I probably should have read that.
Because, he's still disabled ever since Rift Rivals. There's a bug with the stars, I think, in terms of visibility. There's just always been a bug with
imagine
the stars.
if your mid laner was probably the best on Aurelion Sol. That would really suck for whoever's team that is.
Super rough. This is going to be the first game of the day we see Morgana make it through.
Yeah, it certainly is. As I said, Jake's played it very well. It's going to be Zoe, Camille, Swain banned away. Rakan, Braum, Aatrox banned away on the side of Mammoth. Morgana picked up, and then Vlad, immediate Kindred lock-in for Juves. He was playing Kindred
before it was cool.
You can't.
I stole your line. Sorry, mate. You weren't going to say before it was cool.
I was going to say something about being cool.
I thought you were going to say before it was good. And I was like, that is also true. Yeah. There's a bit of a hipster in that regard. But Vlad, Mammoth have played that one in the bottom lane a lot. Mash has played his fair share of Vladimir games. It's very interesting that Rakan is the support to get banned away, and Morgana's the one that's up and available. Normally, we see the Morgana ban on red side, whereas Rakan is the first pick, but that gets flipped, and there we go.
Potentially because dark side likes to play the Caitlyn. We saw this combo work very well. Want to talk about Gragas? Lots of people would be expecting that to go towards Prayless, but in my opinion, if you were a carry top laner, the best tank top you can play is Gragas. That is the stupidest comment to make, right? Because you're like, if you're a carry top laner, just play carry. But Gragas plays very much like a carry during the laning phase. And then with Abyssal Mask and Iceborne Gauntlet is a real tanky dude.
Yep.
So I like it when people like Parbu, the people like Tally, do pick that up in the top lane.
Does a whole lot of damage. Also, in terms of carry players playing tanks, Gragas is a tank that has a lot of skill expression.
Yep.
When you're against a Kindred and you can just, like, ultimate, you can cast people out of the Lamb's Respite, there's a lot of outplay potential there, so it's kind of like a fun tank to play in terms of, like, against the Maokai or the Sion, things like that.
I would argue best champion to play in the game.
Gragas?
Yeah.
Like, most satisfying?
Yeah. I think his kit just makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
And I feel that he is intuitive, but has ceilings and, like, skill expressions. Great predictions come out of, like, flash body slams and casts and things like that. I think that he is up there. Lee Sin, Gragas, Thresh would probably be my 3.
And also, that's a relatively new thing, like, since his ulti rework ages ago, because it used to be, like,
Instant.
mid lane, just Q ultimate, you can outsmite junglers on Baron Gragas.
You would kill people with that.
Yeah, like, and it doesn't matter which way you knock them, as long as the ulti lands, then that's it. You just need the damage.
Auto pop your keg, your Q,
Yep.
and it would do full damage. It didn't have the charge up mechanic back then as well. He was, and it used to slow your attack speed. I don't know whether it still does, but he had a very loaded kit. It's going to be Darius, Gangplank, Pike, and Alistar banned away. Going to be a Soraka lock in for Kuden. Mundo locked in. Soraka was a Kuden one trick before he joined the OPL. The inverse of that conversation.
100%. I, in an interview, there was a little gif of me just
Woo!
flinging my arm up and, shouting woo, as that's what Kuden used to do.
Woo!
I think that means that Vladimir's probably going to go towards the middle lane. Vlad Soraka sounds like, sure, like, you can farm and you're safe, but you can do absolutely nothing in that lane. Against a Caitlyn, against a Morgana. Charlie talked about last week, they like to play this one and just chip away at the turret, and that's exactly what I expect this matchup to do if they go for this. But that's an Orianna into a Vlad. That is a traditional counter pick there, so it's rough if they have to put the Vlad in the mid lane.
Yeah, it certainly is. That's what I was going to say. Vladimir does not deal with this lane well, given the wrong cooldowns at the start of the game versus the attack command on the ball, which is so short cooldown. Nah top lane, not something that we've seen in a while, Bryce. Talk me through Nah versus the Mundo. Do you like it? Do you not?
Yeah, I feel like it's a very Parbu champion. Swiper's going to hate me for saying that one as he uses his skin, but just allowed to whack away there. Bill's execution is calling very easily, things like that. But that's actually just going to be the Jace lock-in. So, Dr. Mundo mid?
This
Maybe?
would be a mind game.
This is... Kuden looks confused. I don't think he knows what's going on. Jace mid? Surely it's like Jace mid, Mundo top. But like Jace was picked into the Nah.
Jace beats Nah.
That's a good matchup. But then it's like, how good is that versus how bad is Mundo into Orianna?
Surely you have to take Ignite if you're Frey now.
Yeah.
No, they swap it. Okay.
Okay.
Makes more sense.
100%.
Nice little
agrees.
top knot out of Jay. It is a short top knot, but I will pay it for now. He looks Viking-esque.
Yeah. He's growing out the beard, you know.
He's a... As I said, he needs to get fatter because I'm starting to get a little bit conscious.
He's got a cool tattoo of his dog. Yeah, he's like a Viking, but then has the softer side for Kobe.
Yeah.
I don't know how valuable a softer side is for a Viking. Probably not. But
I don't think it's valuable at all. And my expertise in this field is like 5 seasons of Vikings.
I've only watched like 3. I'm a bit behind.
Just don't like it?
No, I just stopped watching it. I don't know why. I actually really like it, but I just stopped watching the show.
That happened to me with a show called Billions.
Oh, okay.
Where like I was obsessed with it. And then I just randomly didn't watch it.
You stopped being obsessed with it, yeah?
It's going to be Nah as well as Gragas, Orianna, Caitlyn, Morgana. A very old school comp going up against Mundo, Kindred, Jace, Vladimir Soraka. As Avant Gaming will take on Mammoth Esports. And if the table normalized right now, you know, you would expect Order, Direwolves, as well as Chiefs to be within the top 3. You would say the step below would be Legacy, and these two teams fighting for those 4th and 5th spots in the OPL as we do get onto Summoner's Rift for game number 1. So big game for both of these organizations today. We are joined by Charlie Wraith, coach of Avant Gaming.
Hello.
How you going?
Pretty good. Happy with the draft. Jace threw me off a little bit.
Yeah,
a bit of an interesting champion, but
threw us off a little bit because they were just hovering.
We didn't know
before
where
the
it was
swap.
going, mate, until like the last second. We didn't know if they were playing Mundo mid or Jace AD carry. No idea.
So let's start there because you guys have a real old school draft in what is a very new age and hip meta.
Yeah.
Are you guys that hip that now you're wearing like retro power suits from the 70s?
Absolutely.
As you show up to the OPL. Is that what this is?
Yeah, we're living in the future and the past with this team
Oh,
comp.
that's
Absolutely. No, I mean, the comp's
next
just
level.
good. Like, I think we can just play mid to bot pretty nicely. I think Vladimir Soraka is an interesting one. I think it has pretty negative lane priority into what we've picked, so we should be taking that tower pretty early.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about in the draft phase as well. I had a question that I'm absolutely blanking on right now. I wanted to ask. I've lost it.
All right. So
It's gone.
I'll talk about something else then because we were talking about in Champions League that you kind of have to, in the current meta, play weak side at some point. One of your laners is going to, get forced off. It's the way, priority junglers like Kindred, like even Gragas work. They beat you around to a certain point of the jungle. Do you feel like with a carry top laner like Pabu that can sometimes work against you? And has it hurt Darkside and Jake? Or are you guys, comfortable balancing who's playing the carries, who's playing the weak side?
Yeah, look, I think in a lot of our drafts, I like to pick like a very polarizing map where we have one very weak side and one very strong side. Sometimes when it gets a bit more ambiguous, we do run into troubles, and we spend a lot of our time in scrims and in practice like critiquing how people play their weak side much more than we critique how people play their strong side. It's very easy to play with a lead. It's very hard to play when the enemy's all trying to gang up on you, right? But I don't think the individual players having the ability to play strong side makes their weak side worse. But when they get on stage, they really want to win. They want to accumulate advantages, so they do have to pull back a little bit.
100%. Winning is absolutely
Binding
fine.
does
That's
land.
a
I'm going to
binding.
hold you there because the Ignite is down as well. Kunin has to burn the flash. He should fall down and will to Jake. Mash now also going to get forced out. Has to burn the flash. Binding just misses his backside.
And I want to ask you one thing that we may have just got the answer to. Multiple teams have now had a crisis meeting, and they've all gone on to 2-0 last week. How long does the crisis meeting buff last? Is 2 weeks going to be the number? Is this going to be another 2-0?
We're just going to have a crisis meeting every week now.
Oh, that's a
Every
strat.
day. Every day.
The strat inside the strat. I have one last question. Morgana Kate is like a control shoving lane. It's something that, actually another one lands. Is this how Darkside likes to play the game? Because we saw him kind of fluctuate in performances. Sick performance on the Kai'Sa, some underwhelming ones on the majors. Is he more of your traditional, set up 80 carry, pick your spots?
Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, it's no secret that like he's been playing the game for so many years. Like he's very comfortable playing an actual AD carry, emphasis on the carry, right? He definitely wants to play with a lead. And I think it's no secret as well that I just like playing through bot side. I think there's dragons in the bot lane. There ain't no dragons top side. Why would you play there? Like,
It's so simple.
I like it. I share similar thoughts. As we will let you go, Charlie, to go watch this game as Mash once again steps forward. Thank you so much for joining
cheers,
us.
guys.
That was one of the more action-packed,
Yeah.
first 3 minutes we've had with Coach.
In a pretty, unexpected action-packed bottom lane, right? Like it's a TP heal Vlad Soraka versus a Caitlyn Janna lane there. So Binding lands. They follow it up very nicely with a trap.
And that's why it was surprising, because they didn't think they were going to go do the Scuttle Crab. So when Darkside came back level 2, Kuden was confused.
Yep.
Because you shouldn't be able to get level 2 off the first wave. However, Darkside did have it using that priority. That's cute, Bryce. I like when people do stuff like that. Maybe this is a new Lemon strat.
Well, AV have now come in 2 weeks in a row. They had their pre-planned cheese in the funnel comp last week where they had Lucian Braum and double dashed over the Baron wall to get Mimic, Splash, and Poppy. So definitely coming in with the preparation and planning, taking a look at this matchup and being like, yes, we get priority level 1. We can go take the Scuttle away from a carry jungler like the Kindred and then go back bottom lane and be fine. Getting a kill, absolute huge bonus there and working well.
Meanwhile, top lane, Pabu has started with a cull. This is something that Gnar and Kennen are able to do into tanks. Probably the only 2 champions in the game.
Not to mention, Pabu tweeted this week that Cull is literally the most broken item in the game.
Did he really tweet
He
that?
absolutely did.
That is a very strange tweet. Why did he tweet that?
I have no idea, but he's going to make a case for it. This game is going to be the criteria that we
Judge color.
judge it against.
Because we are confirmation bias casters. I think everyone in the world would agree with that. You listen to an Aegium spawn cast, you were listening to people own... We're not breaking down the game. We're looking who's winning. That's what we're doing on the desk here. You don't agree?
I
You
mean,
just have to chuckle.
I feel like
I feel like we break down the
I
game.
feel like
a
we do
little
a fair share of analysis. There's some times, where your tier ranking spooks as support play. Then we have a few moments here and there, but
bit. Did you see that Spooks declared himself the best support player in the OPL?
oh, did he? No. Oh, that's obnoxious. Come on, Sam. Juves loses his ward there as Prela's going to take it out, but gets a nice little chunk out of the Gragas. Answered.
Oktoberfest Gragas. Obviously not the name of it. It's called something like that. But
it's literally Oktoberfest
Oh, is it
Gragas.
really?
Yeah, 100%.
all right. Cool skin.
Yeah.
But on Hillbilly Gragas, your hat falls off when you enter a bush.
Really? I never knew that.
That is the sickest skin.
That is the one Gragas skin that I have. And I didn't know that. That's super cool. Because I think as long as you don't use the Gragas, like the flat top head with the huge bald spot that looks like it's been shaved in intentionally, as long as you don't use that...
It's a fryer.
Yeah, as long as you don't use that Gragas skin, then you've probably done all right.
You have just alienated fryers everywhere. As another binding will land, does a lot of damage, but not much else.
They have so much priority on the bottom side. First Blood, they go back, pick themselves up a pickaxe to an amp tome. Pink Ward did just get cleared out, but that's very aggressive. They put it in the far portion of the river. Normally, as a bottom lane on blue side, you expect Pink Ward maybe in the back lane bush and the tri-bush, but they extend that one up. Now bringing Prelus down here. This is a Gragas with Flash. We didn't see any early ganks from Prelus so far, but this might be looking for the first.
Certainly could be. Mash goes forward, will get body slammed on, has to burn the pool very
Binding
early.
lands.
Very nice binding, into trap combo, into headshot. He will eventually fall down. Prelus will take that one.
Yeah, Prelus gets the kill on the back end of that one, but such nice play from AV. They only burn 1 CC at the start. You know that Mash, as soon as CC is flying at his head, is going to pop the pool, so Jake holds on to the binding, waits, predicts the juke at the end of the W, and they get clean up a second kill in the bottom lane very early.
And just want to push this one into turret, it looks like, because they're using all their spells on the wave. We'll now get a free tempo shop as well. No teleport available from Mash.
Not to mention, Juice immediately sees Gragas on the bot side get a successful gank off, goes over to the top side of the map, looks to take away. His markers now spawn up there, wanted the blue buff, but Orianna having priority in the mid lane, walks over. The ball is enough to dissuade what was a level 5 Kindred. And so AV just win on multiple parts of the map. They get a gank bot side, and Prelus loses nothing for it.
And the big thing for me is the fact that Parbu is playing weak side. Jungle has gone nowhere near his lane. They gave him counter pick, but he's gone back, bought himself a cutlass. This is going to be a Bork. Is picked up. Mini-Nah is going to be popping this game.
Is Cull Bork really weak side?
Well, what I'm saying is, like, the Gragas hasn't really puffed up there. They're playing Mundo. We've talked about this a lot, but as soon as Mundo is 6 with a carry jungler, your potential to dive a turret is sky high. And not to mention, Mini-Nah is the most diveable top laner in the game.
Yep.
He sucks.
Yep.
As
No
far as that
CC.
goes.
He's got
No
a little
CC
slow
and no health.
Yep.
Like, you can't ask for a worse champion in that regard.
in the top lane. It's a complete disaster. You're absolutely right there. So level 7 hit by the Mundo, level 6 by Juves. There's definitely that potential if they set this up, but because he's been untouched up to this point, Cull is almost completed at about, it's probably going to be done by 10 minutes, by 9.5, something like that. He still has Flash. He has the safety, the extra slow from the Bork, and because he has had priority for the most part and the Juves hasn't gone up there, he's got a pink ward in the river, a ward in the tri-bush. He has so much vision, and AV are just basically winning on all 3 fronts right now.
Yeah, and I said you shouldn't be able to win the map on all three fronts. So my face, very red. However, I think not as red as the members of Mammoth right now because they are getting systematically destroyed in every part of this map. They're 2,000 gold behind. It's not 10 minutes.
Torn apart, and this speaks to Mammoth in terms of you saying they don't have an identity. This is a finesse comp if I've ever seen one. Sure, you don't have like a carry top lane and things like that, but the hardest CC you have is a Mundo cleaver. Jace can knock you back if he's a flank Jace from the mid lane. Kuden can root you if you stand in his silence, but these are, like, Juves has 0 gankable lanes here. If he walks up as the Kindred, he doesn't have CC. Relying on the laners to set things up, they're all losing. They're all getting shoved in, and they all have no CC. So in terms of Mammoth being able to claw themselves out of this hole, it's going to be super rough. That's interesting trade in the bottom side. Juves is now behind.
However, Juves is here, so they will be able to go for a flash
Binding.
forward. However, Binding lands now. Juves will get knocked out of it. Will get body slammed back into it. Now will flash away. However, Darkside looking to go forward with that 90 caliber net. Top side of the map, they must have flashed away. Kuden, very nice flash on the back end of that. However, will eventually fall down. Double kill picked up for Frey.
And AV win everywhere. Pabu decides he doesn't even need to join the play, cancels his TP. and AV win it anyway. So he just gets to sit topside against the Mundo still. That's a dragon. That's kills going over to AV. And this early game, 10 minutes in, that's like a 3,000 gold lead plus a dragon.
And I really think that at this stage of the game, you were wondering, how did it all go so wrong? It looks like they tried to counterpick a couple of lanes and it just blew up in their face.
And this is what we're talking about. Gragas can knock you out of the Lamb's Respite. Unfortunately, Body Slam knocks him just back in, and that's the TP cancel. Mundo can't cancel enough. All he has is a slow. Frey burns the flash to get the CC down early. Kuda on the back end dies. That's a double kill for the mid laner, whose lane has been basically untouched. This is the only lane where junglers haven't really interacted that much, and now 2 kills up on the Jace. It's popping.
Yeah, 4,000 gold the lead. 1,000 organically built up for Pabu in the top lane. You can see 600 in the jungle, about 500 in mid, and 1,300. So now going to look for a dive here. That will be the silence out. Darkseid, however, came in with a black shield. That will be the follow-up damage out of Prayless. However, didn't explode the Cassian time. Juves now will just look to run away. Has the blast plant there.
Very nicely done, Kuden. Layers the silence before Darkseid does land. Fortunately, gets that black shield out of the base. Jake heads up play there, but Darkseid dies anyway, so he falls. They get themselves a nice little chunk of the mid lane. Answer back a little bit. AV still firmly in control.
Not to mention, just slows down the farming pace of what Darkseid has been able to accumulate.
Yep. 100% here. Just walking at a base now. They're actually flipping the map. Of course, they broke bottom side. They take down Dragon. There's no real objectives down there. Juves, very unlucky that his mark spawn on the top side of the map now, because junglers, you expect to flip the map as Prayless starts to pressure around that Rift Herald around his bottom lane, which is the strong point of the map.
Pabu has Blade of the Ruined King as a level 9. Nah, that is... If you're chippies, you stop going to the lane. The problem is he isn't a useful tank in a game, so
he's not a Malco.
He can't really do that.
A Scion, an Ornn. He doesn't have CC to
any
flank
other
a
tank
mid laner
in the game
with.
that actually has CC.
Super rough here. Contest onto the red buff means that that one ultimately just resets. Ju's going to take that one out of base, but AV just have so much control. If you take a look at their vision line, their pink wards are in the river, not behind the river, and then the bottom lane even further up, so they can just constantly pressure. This turret, Pabu did a lot of the work in laning phase, had the Bork very early, just chipping away. Now Darkseid comes up, cleans up the rest of the gold, and this Caitlyn Morgana combo just continuing to siege up lanes, and that's exactly what you want to do. They got an Ocean Drake as well, so they don't want to play the full team fight game. I mean, they can with this gold lead and with their item spikes at this point, but they can happily just sit back and play the slow grind against this composition, and Mammoth don't really have the tools to force.
And it's just a strange game. Once again, I feel like we've seen very bizarre games, and it's, as the meta is opening up, teams obviously playing things that they're comfortable with and their opponents aren't. So a lot of teams, I feel, are just getting caught by surprise today in what is being pulled out. It's like watching Karthus Kled, but a different iteration 4 times.
But it's super interesting that it's happening on the last week of a patch. Normally, like, the patch cycle lasts 2 weeks in competitive play. So we had 2 weeks of 8.13. 8.14, because of a holiday in America, was released late. So this is the 3rd week. We normally don't even make it to this stage, but you think a lot of the adaptation and innovation comes in the 1st week, and teams come out, show their hand, and then it sort of settles. But this is the extra week of play on this patch, and teams are just doing wacky stuff.
Or sometimes the innovation comes week 1, doesn't work, and then you just see the game return back to how it was played a week before, when everyone just plays the same stuff. So completely agree with you. I haven't really seen it go from strange to more strange to bizarre. Because once again, this is a very, like, if this comp was played in Season 4 World, you wouldn't be surprised on the side of Avant Gaming.
Absolutely. Juves, you see, with 0 camps available on the map, is literally just sitting in the side lane mid. Nothing to farm. Doesn't want to go top side because his bottom lane went back to base. Kuden just kind of sitting around. Mammoth's comp, like, can live for a very long time. But they just can't do a whole lot. They can't force. They're already behind. Soraka can keep you up. Vlad has the pool. He has the Zhonyas eventually. Mundo, incredibly tanky. Lamb's Respite comes from the Kindred. But it's just super rough and ever setting up to an objective. AV already have the lead. We're only like 5 minutes away from Baron spawning. They're going to struggle to contest the vision. I feel like Mash is probably going to have to be the one to face check because he can just pull out of CC.
I feel like it's one of those comps that if it's ahead, acceleration gate of a Vlad with, you know, Spellbinder, Mundo, they just run at you. They chunk you out. Darkseid, when he's not accelerated, doesn't have enough damage to be able to stop it. Jake can bind one person, but it's most likely going to be a Mundo. And then they just run over the top of you. And I feel like sometimes in scrims, especially with the nose, and you'll be able to comment on this better than I would, you do get 50-50 games where teams take risks they probably wouldn't take on the stage. So when you play a team comp like this, sometimes it feels better than what it necessarily could feel on game day when people play a little bit more reserved.
There's definitely like in terms of scrim culture and like you go back behind the scenes and you're practicing things, a lot of times where you're like, is this good? Or like the opponent's just playing bad? Like, are we just stomping teams, they're tilted, yada, 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 things like that. Potentially this is the case here because it's super rough for Mammoth to do anything. Rift Herald gets popped. That's the outer ring completely gone. This is a very deep flank. This is going to be the one window Mammoth look to choose. Mash is in behind.
Shockwave actually misses on anyone, so if you're going to go, you would go right now. You can see Turret will fall down. However, already into the back line is Mash. Prey flashes the wall, and they just don't have the damage. Juice continually running forward, looking for Pabu. However, Pabu is mini. Flash after him is going to chippies, but it's not going to work.
And such a questionable engage out of Mash. They go in the Orianna, who already burnt the Shockwave. She had no damage. She had no relevance in the fight. There was 3 members stacked up. And he went for the one. Mammoth, binding, does land.
Headshot is going to be there. Lamb's Respite has to be procced. Remind now looking to get in, has Flash and Ignite available, but not going to be able to get it. And that's going to be another Dark Binding over the wall. That is going to be the ultimate. And Juves falls down. Now they can't even continue the siege.
Cheeky little Mini-Gnar out of the top-hand side of your screen comes in with a Bork Executioners and hits him in the face with his little coal. Headshot comes through, and that's a dead Kindred.
All right. So as we re-establish where we're now at with the game, that was a 4,000 gold lead, now a 6,000 gold lead for Avant Gaming. Maybe a Dragon will go across for Mammoth to deny. They've already got a kill, so perfect game not on the table.
Pabu down to the bot side, does not ward over the Dragon Wall, so they won't be too upset that an Ocean Drake goes over. It's kind of nice for a composition with a Soraka and that you have carries that can live for so long, things like that, but already so incredibly far behind, 3 minutes away from Baron. Darkseid is sitting in a lull right now. We have to mention Caitlyn has the 1 item. In terms of a 1 item spike on 80 carries, if you're not a Gwinsu's builder, Stormrazor is probably the best it gets.
Yep.
You have attack speed, you have AD. You don't have crit, so in terms of scaling, not that great, but is fine. Now wants to work towards his Zeal.
Pabu, however, is just continuing to chase forward. That is a stopwatch burnt and will just be ulted into the wall and die.
Oh, that's one of those situations where you burn the stopwatch and you immediately know you screwed up. You're just waiting to die. Burns the one-time use there, sells it almost immediately. Is just struggling to find resists. Has a little bit of everything there. Has the Barmies, has the Bramble Vest, Chain Vest Spectres. Has a component of basically everything, trying to stay alive. And against the Executioners, the Bork, the chase from Gnar is just so potent. As soon as the Boomerang lands, if you don't have Flash, there's no way the Mundo's getting out.
And once again, Avant, since their crisis meeting, as they are dubbing it, I would never put words in anyone's mouth, but that is what Charlie Wraith called the meeting, have looked the goods.
100%.
And I think that they have played a similar style every game so far. Played slow, methodical push, and it does not look like, today at least, Mammoth are going to get anywhere near him.
Keg does go out. They looked for the Keg into binding combo. Jake threw it over the wall, went through the turret. Unfortunately, does not land. Kuden went for a very early Mikhail, so they noticed that Morgana binds are starting up all of these fights. Jake is absolutely on point with that one, so now you have the cleanse for at least one person in a team fight.
Yep.
Is very useful in terms of Mash has to just run at you, and if he pulls before he gets his ulti off, he will be useful, so all of a sudden you can cleanse him out of a bind that you see coming very broadcast. It's a very niche interaction, but is almost as good as it gets for Mammoth at this point.
Were you a Mikhail support?
Yep. Love it.
I know you do.
Yep.
I set you up for that one.
It is. There's nothing more satisfying
Here we go.
than Mikhailsing yourself on an Ashe arrow. Anytime someone picks Ashe in solo queue, I lose most of these games, by the way, because like Karma and Lulu and like Ardent supports that build Mikhails are kind of just poo. They're kind of garbage.
Yep.
But if you get to that point and you get to outplay someone, oh, feels so good. Feels incredible. You say Gragas, I say Mikhail support.
Really?
Yeah.
You would rather play Mikhail support
I
than Thresh?
actually, like, fans of me as a player, like, I was known for, like, Thresh and Ali. The most satisfying games are Janna games.
No,
When
you're a good Janna
When
player.
you build Mikhails and you just get to, like, deny every Zac, every Gnar, like, making other people, like, have a miserable time in competitive League of Legends, like, I'd much rather deny a dash than hook someone. Feels so good.
All right, there we go. Just a little more insight into the mind of Bryce Agent Paul.
Bit of
And
a
I feel like it is a dark cesspool that we shouldn't visit all too often. As Praelis just walking around Summoner's Rift, he's got himself the blue jungle item as well as a Bramble Death, so not all that tanky, but he's still going to do legitimate damage at level 11.
100% has the EW burst there. As
Oh, that's a
on to
big
Kindred.
damage. Kindred, however, dashes away. He waited too long. That still will be not enough to get the ultimate out. Darkseid didn't throw it.
Yep, very close to the net landing there. That would have been another headshot, would have been another crit, and potentially have to be Soraka or Kindred ult.
Meanwhile, Shippies is just being thrown back into the wall. You can see that there was a Jace heading over. That's why Pabu disengaged.
He's just going for the straight split push build, building towards that Black Cleaver, so he doesn't really care about blowing the ulti too much. Praelis isn't that tanky, so in terms of AV starting up the Baron, it's not really a huge threat right now. They have hit 2 item spikes across the board. Ori has the Zhonya's, Rapid Fire plus the Executioners on the Caitlyn. Pabu did just base and finish up that second item, so AV are incredibly strong, but they don't really have the tank to just willy-nilly start up the Baron.
Yeah, they certainly don't, especially with the Gnar build. You can see right now Mammoth are trying to contest mid lane. Meanwhile, top lane was going to be Frey chasing down Mash, who is 2 levels lower and not nearly as strong.
There's only 1 inner turret left on the map in the bottom lane. AV have, at 21 minutes, 1 turret left to break for Pabu in the side lane. At that point, going to be knocking on the door of the inhibitors, binding. Hits a cannon as Jubes dashes away, so Mammoth doing fine at this point, doing well to hold on. AV don't really have a lot of opportunities, and Mammoth have recognized that, so they're just not contesting anything that could be volatile. They go for the red buff, pull over the entirety of their bottom lane. Kuden and Mash shepherd Juves towards the buff, picks it up, and they immediately leave. It's not a good position, but it's better than they were about 5 minutes ago.
They're just trying to get some form of semblance of control around a portion of the map. Generally, when you do this, this is where you want to fight. You say, if they enter this zone, we go, no matter what. You can see right now that that is not the case because they've lost control over the mid lane wave. And instead, Praelis and Jake just going to walk in and take it all back.
And this is one of those situations where if you're AV, staggering bases becomes the most important thing. Because if you set up vision and then all 4 of you on the top side of the map base, you give Mammoth time to walk in, clear out your wards, clear out your pinks, and then reset the vision control. Whereas AV, they just want to be constantly
Pabu in some trouble here. Flash over the wall, comes in, will get knocked back into the corner. Heal will come across, and Pabu kind of scratches his head.
Yep, Kuden just wants a cheeky little assist there. Does buy them some time with the top turret. It's going to be 3 members of Mammoth walking over. 3v3 onto this one. Caitlyn walking over.
Bind will miss, however, big damage out onto Juves. That is sick damage coming out of Darkseid.
100%. And to continue my point, it's a slow process to constantly push your vision line forward around the Baron. AV need a lot of time and only have 1 shot at doing it because they don't have multiple tanks. So they need to stagger recalls to get wards consistently. Binding lands this time.
Tankiest member, however, on the team in Chippies. Still takes over half of his health, no ultimate, so that'll stick.
Can heal up with a Soraka. Is a Mundo. They have an Ocean as well, but it's a big chunk burn. AV still in firm control of the top side of the map. Earthdrake is the one that spawns, and I feel like AV just going to go towards the Baron. TP comes out of Pabu, they commit.
And they have no vision of this, so they don't know. They think that they're trying to draw them across, or potentially Mammoth just think they can't contest it anyway, so they have to take what is theirs instead.
They know Blue Trinket does go out, so Earthdragon falls, but these two definitely aren't going to make it in time. 5,000. Praelis is very low. He has no sustain with this lineup.
Certainly is. However, that is going to be a Mega Gnar. That is Frey with Shockwave available. It will finally be smited down, and now Mash tries to fly towards him. Cannot get anything done. Flash over will not secure it. Pabu, Nars Juves into the wall. He gets blown up before he can do anything. Now Chippies has to flash out. Ultimate's still available. Party Cast will just whiff on everyone. Good flash out of Kuden.
Kuden flashes away from that one, but AV get everything they want and the bonus 2 kills. Sure, Earthdragon goes over, but who cares when you get the Baron. Carries working on their 3rd item. Almost an Infinity Edge bought outright by the Caitlyn, and they can just pressure all of these lanes. Pabu, sure he has no flash, no TP, but he's going to be a menace in the side lane. This is the exact situation I talked about. Mash walks up, gets bound, immediately crucibled by Kuden, but it's just not enough. Baron is already gone. Mammoth desperately trying to cling on to something, and they lose 2.
There is always hope, Bryce. If you can cling on to nothing else, you can cling on to hope. I don't even know if you can cling on to that right now, because I think over 10,000 is like, even if the servers go down, they lose this game.
If are you a never surrender solo queue player?
Absolutely not. I am, get me out of there at 15.
You're toxic.
No, I'm not toxic. I just know when a game is
You're
lost.
a strategic FFO.
Yes.
OS is a very bad region
To be a strategic
to be a
FFO.
strategic FFO.
Yeah.
Korea,
Don't get me wrong.
very good.
If I
OS,
forfeit
very not good.
and people don't hit yes,
Oh yeah, you still play.
I play the game.
Yeah, 100%.
I just don't want to play the game.
It's a disaster, and I feel like Mammoth might be in the same boat here. Very little wave clear. Jace EQ is almost as good as it gets. Mash won't be able to step up here.
I had some
Silence
real
comes out.
satisfying games last night, though.
Did you?
I had like 35-minute biffs, like back and forward, where everyone was kind of strong. As Juve's looking for something here, we'll dodge out of the way of the bind.
I had one game, and my jungler had a very bad game, and then I didn't play another one.
That's good. When you're tilted, you don't play another. Parbu will ult Chippies into the wall. Chippies will burn his ult in response. Meanwhile, they've given up all control of the mid lane.
But I mean, they have to at some point. That is undefensible at this point. Mash looking for another deep flank, but he's spotted out by a ward. Jake now within bind territory of the Vladimir. He doesn't have flash, so he's going to struggle.
Whiffs that one. Will not get bound up. However, will have to start running away. That is going to be Parbu doing so much damage. Mash, however, is being caught out. And will get the ult down onto Darkside. However, will not live to tell the tale. The pop will not kill him. Meanwhile, Parbu has somehow killed Kindred. And this is now a 5v3.
That's a 3v1 on the Mininar, and Mininar reigns absolutely supreme. TP is going to get Darkside back to the play, fell incredibly low to the JCQ, and this is looking like a knock on the Nexus here for AV.
Certainly is. 26 minutes in. Nexus turret 1 will go down. They flash forward. They really want Remind, and they will be able to pop his GA. That is a shockwave only onto Kuden. He says, what did I ever do to you, Frey? Why are you picking on me? And the second Nexus turret will fall. And only 26 minutes into this game, Avant continue their winning spree.
And decisive is the word, Jake. I might have been wrong with Legacy, but that is absolutely the most decisive, the most overarching victory we have seen of the day yet. Parbu looks incredibly happy with himself. And I have a question.
Yep.
What is the best item in the game?
Apparently Cull. Cull set him up for that success.
Yep. Had a very good game, and there's a lot of questions on the other side. That draft from Mammoth, very difficult to play through. That as soon as that first blood happened in the bottom side, as soon as there's like not outplay for the Vlad, right? Like what outplay really is there? But Juve doesn't have gank options. The Gragas can honestly, with priority, bully around a Kindred early because you can just insta CC.
I'm gonna
rough.
reach back to one of my old sayings, Bryce. Every now and again, you just have to call a spade a spade.
Yep.
That draft was nearly unwinnable.
Yep.
If there is a professional team in this region that can win a game with that draft, I would like to see them. Because that is a very... You have not done your... I always say your only role as a coach is to get your, like, at the minimum, is to get your team onto Summoner's Rift with a 50-50 chance.
Yep.
I do not think that was a 50-50 chance at winning that game.
100%. That's exactly what we saw. Literally from like level 2 bot lane first blood, every single lane was just winning from AV, and there was just literally no options. It lasted like 26 minutes. Dragged out for a while. They couldn't just do the Baron. It's not like a Chiefs composition where they have 6 tanks and engage options, or they just do Baron at 20 and end.
And just turn, kill you, finally take the Baron.
Farming gold off champions rather than creeps, but AV, they played it slow. Once they got the Baron, immediately ended, and they played it well.
Yeah, but potentially that makes it more impressive. The fact that they knew that they didn't have those tools, they stall it out, they fight for vision, they do everything right. Then when they do get Baron, decisive victory at the end of the day. Very well played for Avant. Of course, this series isn't over. We are going to go to a quick break. When we get back, Sharp and Nick are going to announce the winner of our contest and the 2 tickets to the MEO.
Hungry Jack's new pulled beef burger. Slow-cooked pulled beef with crispy slaw and paired perfectly with new pulled beef loaded chips. Cooked slowly, but enjoyed quickly.
Welcome back to the OCS recap for Week 10, you scallywags. I'm Jake Asterix, Aussie Penko. This is Bradley Teagun Seymour. And if you missed out on Thursday, well, I got news for you. A lot happened.
Not just Thursday, Wednesday as well. We see a bit of a
We all
trend,
missed
though.
out.
Wednesday, blue side. Thursday, red side, except Intuition, who just win no matter what.
I mean, that's exciting, but Mprox lost to Avant Academy. How's up?
Well, that's a tough pill to swallow for Mprox pushing into the playoffs. If Avant Academy keep this train rolling, they lose that head-to-head now.
Well, thankfully, I can't swallow tablets as we look at those standings in Avant Academy pushing up the ladder, but Intuition, they're still undefeated.
Intuition guaranteed top 2 at this point.
Yeah.
And the only way they can even fall out of first is if they essentially lose I'd say the next 3 games, Chiefs Academy, they lose their head-to-head, so they need a miracle to get into number 1.
Only loss Chiefs Academy have there as well, but the 4-man tie for third. And if you're outside that tie, right now you're sitting in the danger zone. Top 6 make playoffs, and we've got 3 weeks left to go.
Oh, there's plenty of time to push into that. Legacy
There
Genesis, Avant Academy, both making that run.
All right, T-Gun, next week, what's your matchup? What are you looking at?
Dire Cubs Crimson Gaming.
And it's
Simple
on
as
the
that.
Wednesday. We don't even get to cast at T-Gun. We're going to have to go offline for that one.
Unfortunate, but also on the Wednesday, Avant Academy, Chiefs Academy, another important game when it comes to top 6.
I think Legacy Genesis and Order Academy are mine, to be quite honest. Legacy Genesis, Carbon's been bringing the pain, the fire, and Minky Whale alongside for him. However, that's all we got time for again. This is T-Gun. I'm Hysterics. If we don't see you next week, that's because we've gone to Japan.
Because the Ignite is down as well. Kunin has to burn the flash. He should fall down and will to Jake for a flash forward. However, Binding lands now. Juve will get knocked out of it. Will get body slammed back into it. Now will flash away. However, Darkside looking to go forward with that 90 caliber net. Top side of the map. They must have flashed away. Kunin, very nice flash on the back end of that. However, will eventually fall down. Double kill picked up for Frey. Headshot is going to be there. Lands Respite has to be proc. Remind now looking to get in, has Flash and Ignite available, but not going to be able to get it. And that's going to be another Dark Binding over the wall. That is going to be the ultimate. And Juice falls down. Mash tries to fly towards him. Cannot get anything done. Flash over, will not secure it. Pabu nars Juves into the wall. He gets blown up before he can do anything. Now Chippies has to flash out. That is a shockwave only onto Kunin. He says, what did I ever do to you, Frey? Why are you picking on me? And the second Nexus turret will fall. And only 26 minutes into this game, Avant continue their winning spree.